The minute I heard that, I knew that was a Marvin Gaye inspired thing.
Yeah, but it was so obvious. Listen, inspiration is not meant to be you copy it and then try to pass it off as your own. Hello, inspiring you makes you feel good, and you say, "Oh, I love that," and then you go in the studio and you write your own something and you do you. But if someone says, "Which artist did you listen to you liked?" that's a whole different question. Not inspired, I stole it. No, because then you have to pay.
But they don't even. That comes down to greed, which goes to the whole one of the big themes of the show today. The way that the music industry works, you pay in one of two fashions. You pay somebody up front, or you give them the credit for it, and they get paid on the back end.
Exactly.
There would be no lawsuit if they had done what they did with Bruno Mars and and Bronson.
Uh-huh.
They up front said, before this gets out of hand, we are going to pay the Gap Band. We are going to pay them.
There you go. Hello.
Before they cut any checks to us, we're going to admit that we used a piece of a song from them, because everybody gets paid on the back end at the same time. You just have to note it in publishing. So this is Robin Thicke and even Pharrell. I think it comes down to their legal representatives and the people that help them with publishing not wanting to give up part of the money because the song was huge. And that's greedy to me.
Well, that's going to cost you big time, because listen, the lawyers that you're going to have to get, they ain't going to do it. No chump change. So they're going to want their big fat chunk out of it, and then you're going to realize, oh my God, we've had to pay the lawyers, we've had to go to court, we've had to have all this bad negative publicity. We're losing money on it now because people are upset and they ain't going to buy it no more. So we're going to end up paying a hell of a lot more out than we may start making in. Because if he starts with his foolishness again, if it starts making even more money, because that's to date, mind. I think that's just to date. You don't know. If it keeps generating, they may have to put more again in the future. You never know.
Well, but just from digital world, you don't print anything. And so from a digital world, that song is one of those that's probably being played every day somewhere in the world. Mm-hmm. And it's a matter of royalties. You just acknowledge it and let the royalties come out the back end. Both of those people have money. I mean, they have huge amounts of money. For real?
Yeah.
Please.
Come on. And I ain't being funny. All they had to do was just, because they just had to admit to it, and then see the other people, they didn't create it as it was, because they were so heavily influenced, and all they just didn't want to admit to it, and they just wanted to keep and they wouldn't compensate the other parties, i.e. his estate. They just wanted to keep on rolling down the hill with their money and creating a snowball effect and just keep making this money over and over and over. But both tracks are good tracks, and they are, like, as we know, Marvin Gaye's song is Marvin Gaye's song. You cannot take that song, and their song is their song. But the music behind it, that they stole, the melody of the track, they stole it. If they'd have just asked and said, "Can I use this?" No problem. She probably would have said yes the first time round. His daughter and his family, his estate would have just said, "Yeah, probably yeah."
It's money. It was Pharrell.
There you go.
They know Pharrell is freaking a bank, so why would they have objected to them using it?
Exactly. They would have said, "Yeah, great. You want to use it? That's fine. Just let us know about our royalties. We come to an agreement. Hello, give us some money," and there would have been no noise.
But let me ask you
they tried to be greedy.
Let me ask you this question. The whole theme of your show is appropriation. Don't you think this is just the belief that they could do what they wanted to do, and we're just going to do it and take it, and we're not going to acknowledge it? And isn't that what the appropriation process has been for all these many years?
Yeah, they're trying to tell you they're appreciating you, but they're appropriating you and they're trying to steal.
But,
or in my case, I just say, or is it just plain plagiarism and theft?
Right, that's what it is. And so, but that's what appropriation is. When they take our hairdos, when they take our shoe styles, when they take all the things they just take them, and they don't expect anyone to object to it.
Yeah, we see, maybe that's why, because I'm not being funny, God rest his soul, he is no longer with us, Mr. Marvin Gaye, and they probably thought, no one ain't even going to notice that. No, you wrong.
Or if they notice it, we don't care, because we're bigger than they are.
Yeah, they can't do nothing, and even if they try to take us to court, we'll just squash them like an ant.
No, because that's where, unfortunately, like you mentioned, you get attorneys involved, and those attorneys then on the other side say, "Hey, we'll represent you because this is money in the bank.
Yeah.
And they take their money on the back end.
Yeah, oh, that's a big chunk of change. All of them lawyers are grinning teeth now. They're like, oh yeah, that's a hot money. They're well happy. Okay, Rose, remember I mentioned to you that I had this article for today's show, link 26 now. Remember what we were talking about? And I said this and we were all laughing. They rewrite history. I don't believe it. People, you know what to do at Ask Avani Show. Read, post, comment, share. Let us know what you think now. Is this a rewriting of history? And do you agree that you do not believe in it? Just let me know. I just want to know. I'm just curious. Come on now. Just tell us what you think because
Well, but when you look at it, as you look at history, and you're hitting on a subject today that I have been thinking about because of just different things, and maybe it's karma, maybe it's just the spirits aligning. But I've been listening to programs, and I've been listening to some other radio shows. I listened to someone named Karen Hunter here in the United States on Sirius, and she has Sirius Radio. She has been talking about different things, and it's been one of those subjects she has brought up. Is something I've thought about and known about for myself for years, and I've talked about on So Metro Midday, is that history and how it is portrayed is dictated by the people who can write the books or the people who pay to have the books written. And it's like I say, I'm a spiritual person and I believe in the spirit and I believe in God. But the quote King James version of the Bible is not named King James because of LeBron James, the basketball player here in the United States. It's because of...
you had to do it. Oh, my
it's
God.
because the King of England decided that he wanted, quote, a book created, and he had scholars and theologians of the time come together and produce this book called the Bible. Right. The Bible, please go do your history, those listening to the podcast, because now that we have the internet, it's kind of hard to cover this stuff up. But the King of England decided that he wanted that created, and the things he didn't want in there aren't in there.
Yeah, it's his own history, that's his own version.
It's his framing of what the world of religion was at that time. And there are still some things that they kind of, let leak when they were going through, i.e. he had skin of bronze and hair like wool. If you want to really think about it, he wasn't blonde and blue-eyed Jesus. I'm just putting it out there and telling everybody if this is the last show that we ever do because they come and get us, that's what that is. But
you know that ain't gonna happen because you are.
I'm not worried about it. I'm just saying. But he looked like the people in that region where he lived. And so going back to your point for the day is they appropriate history and they define it. And if you don't go and do your research, you will not realize that Elvis didn't create rock and roll. Okay. And back in history, those people that created those history books are the people that framed what they considered to be inferior people, and they decided who the people were going to be called inferior, i.e. people that didn't look like them. We didn't look like them, so we were inferior because they were creating the books.
Oh, please, these people are crazy.
but you know that's true. There's a lot of crazy people out there, and so for those people that are crazy, I hope you listen to the show because we're coming for you. We're exposing you.
It's crazy. Crazy. Oh my God. People, you have to go read my pod post because I have some articles in there that I was just like, yes. As the saying that I heard recently that made me laugh, giving me life. I thought it was very funny because you just look at something and you think, oh my God. See, you know how we do here on the Ask Avani Show. We're going to talk about things that people don't really talk about. And we're going to bring it out and we're going to air it like washing. Okay. Just out there. Okay. People. I just thought, I don't know about you, Carol. I don't know what you think about this, but link 33. The article says, hey, white people, if you want to help end racism, and I'm talking about the racist people out there, I'm not saying that everybody thinks like this. Let me just be clear, okay? The article says you need to invest in other white people. And I thought, okay. And then it says in brackets, yes, we know it sounds counterintuitive. So people, another article for you to go and read, because I thought that was a very interesting twist. And when we added it to today's show, obviously we know what today's show topic has been about: cultural appropriation and or cultural appreciation. I wanted to know, will the privilege always win and influence mainstream thinking? Now, that's an interesting article to read, because what do you think? You are going to probably be of one school of thought or the other school of thought to say, yeah, okay, yeah, I agree with this. And obviously, if you agree with it, fine. And obviously, if you don't agree with it, you will have your strong reasons for being against it as well. So these are some of the things I want you guys to please go and read my pod posts at Ask Avani Show and on the Ask Avani Show Facebook group page to let us know what you think about this, because I'm just crazy. See, Karo's link 35. 4 ways to honor Native Americans without appropriating the culture. Now, I have been sending you some very interesting quotes and picture quotes, haven't I, Keros? Now, the one where it says, when this is how the world sees you, is just not funny. Because, again, we talked about this, isn't it? Halloween, when people decide to dress up, and I say that, quote unquote, dress up as a person of another culture, whether it be Indian, whether it be Native American, whatever it is. Listen, even one of these picture quotes, the woman, the cartoon is even asking, why do children dress up as me for Halloween? Why is, quote, Native American, close quote, a style you can buy at a clothing store? Hello? Is that not negative? And the man is answering her, and he says, they do not consider us a living, breathing, diverse culture. We are seen as a fad, imagery that can be manipulated and discarded. Or, as we said earlier, prioritizing to monetize.
They take what they want and use it the way they want to use it to make money. And if you don't like it, they say, well, why are you all in your feelings? Why are you feeling? What? We're just trying to no, you're taking from a culture, i.e. American Indians, i.e. Asian Indian, people from India, i.e. Africans. You know, you're taking from these cultures and you're not giving back. And that's wrong.
Exactly. I mean, even in this article that I just asked you to post, Keros, I'm just going to paraphrase because I thought it was very funny. And it's very true, actually. Basically, the author has said, when natives decry the wearing of faux headdresses at music festivals or, for example, you know, Halloween and places like that on those types of occasions, or in fashion spreads, or when we protest the use of our imagery on underwear and football helmets, hello, we're asking people like Ted Nugent, and we just mentioned him, Pharrell Williams, and institutions like the Washington Redskins to stop profiting from stereotypes proven to harm and dehumanize Native people. Hello. People need to stop. Just stop with the mess. If you're doing that, stop it. Because you could be offending someone. And it's like I said earlier, you want to treat others as you want to be treated. So you don't want no one to be trying to disrespect you. If you're doing that, it's going to come back and bite you on your butt.
But you have to care. And that's the thing that I think affects the entire conversation. When it comes down to money and can people make money from something, there's a difference, and it's different from morality. So when someone believes they can make money from something, if they are not willing to acknowledge that it could be something that is morally, at a minimum, morally abrasive to people, if they're not willing to acknowledge that or care about that, there's really nothing we can do to stop them if we don't have the money to stop them. Or if we don't do what we're doing on this show and talk about it and get other people to object to it in a global way, and that shuts them down.